One, two, three, four, one, two, ready. Welcome to Straight Talk TV, the show that cares about you. And here's our host, Tony Brown.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, Steve. And everybody, welcome to Straight Talk TV. And truly is the show that cares about you, where the information comes from the people. This month it's been set aside or marked as Women's Month, but every day we honor our women. So we have some women, some ladies, that's going to be sharing part of their journey in life with us. But right now, if you will, stand in your heart and in your mind for the Black National Anthem being performed by Johanna and Steve McCoy.
Lift every voice and sing till like an heaven ring, ring with the harmony of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let us march on till victory
Yes.
is won. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun, and on the day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Let us march on till victory is won. Is won. Is won.
Oh my goodness. Go ahead. Yes. Johanna and Steve McCoy, let's give them a clap praise because we got to march on. And that's exactly what the guests have been doing. The journeys that they've been in, how they've been marching, it's powerful. So what we're going to do, we're going to go to our first guest, Michaela, and she's a student at the University of Portland. And then we're going to be blessed with Paris, who's a Eastern Star. She also has her own company that she started. And then we got something even extra special coming out of Chicago. Some say the Chi-Town. What these people are doing and the blessing that they have is powerful. So we're going to mute everybody right now, and then we're going to go to a guest, and that's kind of the order. And then we have a young lady that's going to do a health tip for us. So it's a powerful program. Glad everybody tuned in to us. We're going to get right into the program. Michaela, how are you?
I'm good.
Okay.
How about you?
I am too blessed to stress and serving the people, and it's just an honor. What we're going to
Yes.
do is share a little bit about who you are with our viewers, and then we're going to talk about the journey that you're on. And Steve, can we go to a single shot, please? Michaela?
Oh, I didn't know if I was going yet because you had said Steve's name, so I didn't
You
know
get
for
it.
sure.
Yes, share a little bit about what Michaela does. I know you're a student of political science, but I want you to share yourself with the people.
Yeah. Well, hello everybody. My name is Michaela Goss. I am a student
Yes.
at Portland State University. I'm a sophomore. I'm a political science major. Uh, what else? I'm very community involved. I've done a lot of community work, and community based work. I was a head representative for my high school, which was Roosevelt High School. Go Rough Riders. Um, and for those who don't know, the district student council is for Portland Public Schools. It's basically where juniors and seniors from every high school in PPS all get together and talk about the political views and political actions that are going on in our schools. And so that's basically what I did for 3 years. I got shouted out by Damian Lillard. For those who may know who he is, he used to be a Portland Trailblazers player, but then now he moved to a whole nother team. Um, and yeah, I also like to cook. I like to bake. I like to listen to music a lot. And yeah, that's about it.
Michaela, I want to ask you a question as a young person right now.
Yes.
You know, there's a lot going on about voting. And I just want you to share a little bit with us. What does voting mean to you? And how are you feeling about the atmosphere right now about voting?
Ooh, that's a great question. Um, I would say for me, voting, what's really important to me about voting is that like the youth now, like my generation and like the generations going forward, um, I feel like it's important for all of us to vote because we get to get our voices out there. We get to get it, like hopefully have our voices heard. And if not, I know like someone in the generations will like show that and be like, hey, these kids or these young students, young kids, want to show their voice and want to let people know, hey, we don't appreciate this, we don't like this, we don't accept everything that you guys are saying, blah blah blah. So that's kind of how I view it. What can you say the last part of that question, please?
And what do you feel about the atmosphere right now about voting? And when
Ooh.
when you around some people that might say, I'm not going to vote, or I don't feel that my vote is valued. How do you address that?
Ooh. Um. Ooh.
Because see, the reason I'm asking is because you are our future. You're
Yeah.
already in our future. And it's very important that we hear from our young people and how they're feeling. And if you hold that thought, I'm gonna bring a young lady in that's all the way, Paris. Are you available to come in? Okay, hold that thought because I'm gonna have Paris join you. Then I'm gonna have multimillionaire, AK Paris. I mean Precious, join you too. Paris, please share a little bit about yourself.
Hi,
And
everyone. How are
yeah,
you?
hello.
Hi, Michaela. I know Michaela actually very well.
Okay.
I make my way around, to say the least. But my name is Paris Drake. Nice to meet you guys. I'm originally from Atlanta, Georgia. I am here currently in Portland, Oregon. I've been running a small business for almost a decade now, doing event coordination through the basis of philanthropy work. I've been taking time to actually teach BIPOC individuals and women-owned companies how to understand financial literacy, what that looks like. I'm currently in school studying economics, so that way I can become an economist. So that way I can continue to teach our people how to properly protect themselves, especially with the global climate changes that are currently happening against our nations and currently happening against our globe, with the natural disasters that are coming. So that way they can know how to properly insure themselves, their assets, their money, and know how to be able to create a sustainable living for themselves as well.
Okay, for my now, I just asked Paris about voting and what it means to. Please share what voting means to you.
For myself, voting for me means livelihood. I'm a single mother. And the reality is, raising a Black son in America, I have to be aware of what exactly is being put on a ballot. I have to be aware of what's actually being put out for people to see, to know, and the information behind it that's being given. It's important because without these votes, we don't have a future. A lot of times people say that we don't make a difference, that one vote doesn't matter, but that's kind of like saying, okay, well, one person not cutting up, your soda can plastic, it doesn't matter, but that's one duck that could be saved at least. It's important for you to know that it isn't that you do need to vote. These are things that are going to change the trajectories of our futures, how we live, all our crisis, our money, our schools, everything in between. Like, for instance, with all the things that are going on right now out in Florida, where they're trying to change up the politics on what is it, Black history, and they want to take it out of the school system as a whole. Like, that's a big deal. You know, the governor is literally ripping out Black history out of the textbooks and saying that he does not want it here. And if we don't take time to vote on these things, we're not going to have a history.
I appreciate that. What I'm going to do right now, we was going to do segments, but we have everybody here. We have a gentleman's here, just sitting right in the middle here. He's with his daughters. And what I like to do, I would like each daughter to share a little bit about who they are. We're going to get to the segment, Mr. Richard, about what you do and that gift that you're blessing the world with. But we're just flowing right now. So everybody, please flow with it. Like I said, I was going to do segments, but everybody's here. And I'm just feeling the energy just to bring everybody into the conversation right now. So your two daughters that are here, could they share a little bit about who they are, what they do? And then once the two ladies share, I'm going to go up to Precious Shepherd as well.
Hello, my name is Tanisha Davis, and I am a notary, loan signing agent, and I'm a singer.
Oh my good. Okay, let's put a pin right there. Go ahead, you sing a little something. You know, think a song just to drop a little note on us, if you will. Okay, right next to you, absolutely. Right next to you, Mr. Richard.
No. Hi, I'm Shayna Phillips. I am the founder and lead instructor of Gifted Hands International. We are a doula training and certifying organization, the first Black-owned doula training and certifying organization in Illinois. We provide comprehensive education and training to current and aspiring birth workers in an attempt to combat the high maternal mortality rate in Illinois and beyond.
Now, from my understanding, I'm gonna pat you on the back, if you will. You have trained over how many people? Over 100?
Since I started, we've been 4 years. We've trained over 100 doulas across 9 states and 2 countries.
Oh my goodness! Please say that again, because people need to really get that and your journey and how you have traveled. Please share that again. You have trained
over 100 doulas across 9 states and 2 countries.
2 countries. Now there is something special that the people that you train think about your training. Share a little bit about that.
Well, I am known to for my trainings and my lessons to be very sermonic. They say that when I'm teaching, they feel like they're in doula church.
Okay.
And I also just outside of giving high level education, we're known to create a community of bonding and connection. Outside of that, it's always my goal when someone to come to my training for them to leave not with a new level of education, but just leave with something they didn't know they needed. So whether it's that they found connection that they were looking for, or they felt closer to God, they walked away with something or walked away changed different than how they came in.
Good. Let's give a clap praise on it. Really give a clap praise. We appreciate that. And the lady in red, if you will, Miss Shepherd, share a little bit about your journey and what you're doing and have been doing.
Hello, everybody. Geez, I've done a lot. I worked with the youth for a long time. I have a master's in psychology, a bachelor's degree in criminal justice. My goal was to become a bilingual criminal justice attorney. However, I ended up counseling. It just, doing a lot of mental health counseling. I still do that. I work for the federal government, in the middle of writing a book, and I have a business called Ani LeVay.
Okay, I want to touch on something because you kind of swept past it, the paralegal part. You didn't do the paralegal part. You was actually in another country.
So I was in Japan. So I started out as a paralegal, and I thought I was going to take a shortcut. So I started out as a paralegal, and then I went and got my bachelor's in criminal justice, and then I got my master's in psychology.
Well, I'm gonna give you a clap praise. Everybody give a clap praise because see, and what the reason I'm saying it because I'm gonna I'm gonna share something with you. And the reason I'm sharing this is because what we're seeing today is very, very, very powerful. Very powerful. Let me see if I can pull this up because um, it says, I want to get this right. That's why I'm pulling it up. Women had voting rights under some conditions in the colonies. Get this. Women lost their right to vote in all states' constitution between 1777 and 1807. But in June 4th, 1919, they ratified the women the right to vote. The 19th Amendment gave them the legal right to vote. And the reason I'm sharing that with us and our viewers, because what we're seeing right now is the journey that women have been on just to do what they're doing. So this is not just something that's, and I share this a lot when I talk to young people. It's not something that's a given. And I'm sure Mr. Richards is going to be able to touch on that a little bit about his journey. This is not something that's just given. People have died, but struggled. For these women, and for me to even do what I'm doing, Mr. Richard doing what we're doing, but for the women to be doing what they're doing, that's only like, I want to read this statistic for you because we kind of just take things for granted sometimes. And I don't want us to. I want us to understand that this is powerful. And when we talk about the right to vote, how this can be taken away from us, and because we didn't always have the right. We didn't always have the right to play the music that we want to hear or go to where we want to go to. And Mr. Richards is going to share with you about his journey because we didn't have that right to have our own companies. So when we talk about voting, people, everybody in the sound of this show, this voice that's viewing, it is important all the way down from the PTA, all the way up to Congress, Senate, and the White House. And I was looking for the statistics they were sending over to me about how many women are in Congress right now. But while I'm looking for that, we have a gentleman that just joined us. Ms. Richard, I'm going to get to you, sir, because what you're doing is really, really powerful. We got a young man just joined with us. And I'm really reaching out to our young people because Mr. Richard and I, we've been on our journey. And he has two queens sitting next to him. There's other two queens in the audience, in our viewing audience, that we're passing the torch to. But we have a young man, he is the first vice president of the NAACP in Oregon. Delano, please come and share a little bit about what you've been doing and how you got involved with politics and on your journey. Please, sir. Welcome.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. And first, I want to say I apologize for being late. I live by a mantra of you on time if you're early, you late if you're on time. So I don't know what this is that I got going on, but I'm glad to be here. Like I said, my name is D'Angelo Moaning, the first vice president of our NAACP. And the reason I was late today is I'm actually participating in the state central committee meeting for the Democratic Party of Oregon. So rather than talk about myself, I want to talk about what I've witnessed. So today, many people don't know this, but the Democratic Party of Oregon always has a chair. And today our chair is a Black woman by the name of Dr. Rosa Colquitt. It's very important that we consider the vote because the Democratic Party of Oregon was founded in 1851. And this is the first time in its history that it has had a Black woman appointed as the chair. There are a lot of firsts happening in the DPO. Rosa Colquitt is the first Black woman. Our current treasurer is a Black man. Our vice chair of the Black Caucus is a young Black man by the name of Miles Pendleton, who was also the president of the NAACP in Eugene. He was the president. Our chair of the Black Caucus is a Black woman, Miss Loretta Smith. We have a lot of Black firsts in the Democratic Party of Oregon. And when you look at the history, the founding of the state of Oregon as a white utopia, this is something that has never happened before. This has not been seen. 10 years from now, people will be talking about these historic firsts, and they should not be the only ones. But the power of the vote is what allowed Rosa to get into that position, that allowed these Black folks to get into these positions. Like you said earlier, Mr. Brown, a lot of people died behind this. There's been a lot of women's suffrage over the right for women to vote. So to have a woman sitting in that high, one of the highest elected seats in the state of Oregon, overseeing the Democratic Party, operations, procedures, chairing the meetings, making sure that every county in the state of Oregon is represented, and making sure that Black people have a seat at that table, and just having a presence in the room, because oftentimes we're not there. Just for us to be there and to be able to actually speak openly, freely, honestly, and impact policy, both in the state of Oregon and then how those policies can reflect and mirror in other states. It's very powerful, and it's very important that we recognize that. And it's also very important that as young people, we understand that this has to be passed down. You know, Rosa shouldn't be the last Black woman to hold that position. These Black people that are in these positions should not be the last Black people in these positions. But it isn't until the young Black men and women understand the power of their vote and they get that political equity, they get that economic equity, they have that social equity, that we can really be free and be whole and be complete in these spaces, and not just kind of be around the table, but have an actual seat at the table and then have a level of impact. So I think I'll stop there for now, but that's really the importance of today for me.
No, I appreciate it. And that's a clap praise on that, because as a young person speaking and being at that table, and Mr. Richards, I'm sure Mr. Richard, I'm gonna bring you in because, but I kind of want to save you for that, but I want to bring you in because we have these young peoples around us. And what does that feel like to you? First of all, let me say, he is the CEO and inventor of a powerful product, but he's going to share a little bit about that, but I want to give him his proper dues. He is the CEO and inventor of his company, and it's a family-owned company. But Mr. Richards, as we sitting around listening to these young people, and the journey you've been on, what does this mean to you right now? And how you're feeling?
Well, I started my journey in 2015 when my daughter decided to drive Uber. This one right here. And I got 4 daughters. All of them drove at one time. But when she started driving, out of concern for her safety, I was worried and be up at night when the phone rang. I would panic because she was out there driving perfect strangers. So I was in the basement one day and I was just asking God to give me a way to get her to quit, because I didn't want her to drive. And I told her she had to get a job, so I couldn't tell her to quit the job because she got the job.
Right.
So I was watching YouTube, and then I seen where this guy had got robbed. He was an Uber driver. That didn't help my anxiety. So I was downstairs just doodling with some cardboard, and that what if came in my head.
What if?
So I cut what I had in my head out of cardboard. And I went out to my car and I put it in there and I said, this can work. So I took it to a manufacturer and said, can you make this? And he said, give me a couple of days. He called me back, said, I can make it. By this time, another one of my daughters started driving. So I said, I need 2 of them. It was very expensive to make because, you know, when you make a lot of them, it's cheaper, but I just needed 2. And he made it. And then when my daughters, I put it in their car, they was driving, they kept coming home saying, Dad, everybody likes it. Everybody wants one. So that's when the idea came in my head, like, maybe I should. So my friend David, he's not here today, we sat down and we started talking, and then we looked into the patent. So we did a conventional patent. Then I talked to the manufacturer and I started having it mass produced, and it went from there. My motivation was my daughters, but then it became everybody else's daughter, everybody else's loved one that wanted to come home safe. And it just ballooned, and I couldn't keep them in stock. So it just kept going, but the feeling of helping someone with a product that I made, and I made it for my daughters, but I done sold over 3,000 of them all over the country. Multiple countries.
Man, that's a blessing.
Multiple countries.
Multiple. And you, Mr. Richard, I'm gonna share something with you. You might already know it, but you joined the elite of the first Black man, African American, Asiatic, whichever title person choose, Mr. Thomas L. Jennings. In 1821, he did the first patent. So you joined that elite, sir, and I commend you on that. I commend you on
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. I didn't know that.
Yes, yes, yes. And I commend you on the fact that the care and your heart, and we only can imagine as a parent, your daughters are out there driving and what the possibilities is. And somebody spoke to you, which whoever you want to call it or title, spoke to you and had you go to your kindergarten mode and draw it out on cardboard.
Yes.
And it's a reality. And for all this viewing, Mr. Richards is going to bless us a little later in the show, a demonstration of this product. But where I'm going with this, people, is all this ties back to voting. All this ties back to voting and getting the right to be at the table, getting the right to be owners, being a right to have your own businesses. That's why it's so very important. We have a young lady all the way from Philadelphia just joined us, Professor O'Day, and I want to say something. We have 3 Eastern stars on this show, so I guess the stars are out tonight. Y'all cannot, y'all can do whatever y'all do to let each other know that y'all Eastern stars, but just a blessing. I'm gonna come back to you, Mr. Rich, because I want you to demonstrate your gift, sir. And is someone gonna be joining you so we can kind of get set up? Your daughter?
Yeah. I'm gonna do it inside. I have a thing that I use when I go to different shows. When I set up, I can do it inside. They'll get the gist of it.
Okay, so what we can do is once you go get set up, once you get ready, come back on and the engineer bring you in. We'll let you do your demonstration.
Okay.
Okay, appreciate it. Okay, Professor O'Day, while you here, thank you, all the way from Philadelphia. She is the CEO of AOK Business Services. Again, people, all this is tying into the vote and the right to vote and what comes out of voting. Professor O'Day, thank you. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello, everybody, and hello, my sisters. How are you? I apologize for the lateness, but it's tax season, and the sister has to work. So I'm glad I came in on the importance of voting, because as entrepreneurs, we don't realize how much our vote can change the compliances and the complexities of our tax returns. We often think, hopefully, if there's any S corps or C corps out there, they either did the extension, but the 15th was the deadline for corporations, not regular LLCs, just S corps, partnerships, and C corps. And hopefully you will have a great conversation with your tax pro or accountant. However, we have 30 more days. And in those 30 days, I just want you to know they are dishing refunds so quickly. So please don't wait to do your taxes at the last minute because you want to travel in May. Okay? Because if you make a mistake, and the mistakes that are coming is that everybody, instead of using the professional services of your tax pro or accountant, just like all of you are in business, if you're the professional, people should come to a professional. There's some things, if you just don't do them yourself, there are simple mistakes you won't make, like wrong social security numbers. The address you moved and you didn't tell the IRS, and you think because you put something in the post office that the IRS knows. They don't know. So they can't communicate with you. Your IP pins, some people didn't get their IP pins. These are just little mistakes that will keep you from getting your refund, keep you from, and we all know if you ever try to call the IRS, you're going to stay on the phone forever. They're going to hang up on you. You're going to call back. You're going to get frustrated. So it's so much easier to get your tax pro or accountant to do it for you. That's what you pay them for, to help you. And those assistants, we have special numbers to do that. Change of addresses and things like I did a social security wrong for my child. that will reject. And because you're not a tax professional, a lot of times people don't know that their tax return has been rejected. So it's things that you don't know. And I would like to say, as subject matter experts, which all business owners are on their subject matter, please just take a moment, everyone, to go to a subject matter expert. If you're in business, consultations should be in your budget, because we don't do it all, we can't do it all, and we don't know it all. So those are just little minor things that you should think about during this tax season. And yes, everybody's upset because 20 and 21 gave us all this extra money back. And so now we're not getting it. So people have to know that when you're talking to whoever's doing your taxes, please ask them for an explanation, because we know that tax pros and accountants will sit there and do everything and say, okay, here you are, you pay them, and you have no clue what you just signed off on. Your signature says, I know what that person did. Please look on that second page, because those of you who like to take a shortcut where it says self-prepared, understand that the IRS will say, well, you signed it, you prepared it, you must have known what it was. And we all, if we haven't been in that spot, we all know someone who has. And they don't care that you said, but I paid her $150. I paid her $35. Guess whose name is on that tax return? Not theirs. So there's just some things, and we have so much thievery now that it's imperative that you keep your eye on your own documentation. And we are now required, you can't drive, all the gig drivers out there that do Uber, Lyft, DoorDash. Uber and Lyft are really very well about giving you the summaries. So that helps us say that you had these many miles and what your deductions are. But DoorDash doesn't do that. You can no longer make up things. We need documentation. So when we ask you for documentation and you don't have it, you're going to pay for somebody to make documentation for you. So just know that these are the little things that can keep you stuck. The only thing you can do is just jump up and down and scream and holler. But if you actually have a really good tax professional, they're going to walk you through with saying things like, the prior president lowered the wage tax to 8%, just FYI. And now we've been taking 10% out all the time. So if you made $3,000, you took out 300, right? So now people are annoyed because you earned $3,000 and they're taking out 280. Now the tax brackets have changed and have not changed. So I'm in a 10, I'm taking out 8% in a 22% tax bracket. Well, somebody needs to explain that to you. Somebody needs to look at that W-2. Somebody needs to explain that 1099. You have 4 kind of 1099s. What kind of 1099 are you giving me? So if you're in business, those are things you need to know. And did you do a 1099 for the people you gave money to? Because what I'm finding is that, well, I paid so-and-so such and such, but you didn't send a 1099, and what happens? So if you just want to give money away, feel free to bless me. I'm in the thank you for just sharing your wealth with me business, because you just gave somebody 20, 30, 10 to 40, $50,000 that you can't account for. You as the owner can't take it off because you can't prove that you paid that person. And you know what people, he ain't give me all that. I ain't get all that. I can show you my Cash App. Well, we are also in the stage of life where we don't want to pay the fees. Well, fees are deductible. It's the cost of doing business, people. It's the cost of doing business. So we put our Cash App in our personal, wait a couple of days so we don't have to pay the fees. And so when you go to say, but I paid you, I got my Cash App. Yeah, but it was personal, it wasn't business. So, and we're guilty. A lot of people are guilty, which is why I don't take Zelle and all that, because that's a whole another conversation. But in 2025, everyone, Zelle Apple Pay, all of them will be required to give you a 1099. But Cash App is owned by Square. You will get a 1099 for any business that you have over $600 from, no matter who. So those are just little tidbits I wanted to share, because I think we talk about everything. Everybody wants to know about child tax credit and what they heard. And the last thing I really want to bring up is, if you have an identity theft PIN, you will need one every single year for the rest of your life.
Now, Professor,
So every January, they send one to you. If you lose it, there's a number you can call, but I can guarantee you they're not going to give it to you on the phone, and they're not going to send another one to you this year. So please, for your people, friends, and that have identity theft pins, know that it's in January, because you cannot electronically file unless you have that ID pin. So and one last thing. Everybody who's in business should be getting something that's called a BOI. It's coming from financial crimes part of the IRS, because they gave away all that money for people who really didn't have a business. Remember that part?
right.
However, that BOI is important. So it is about $117, $120. So when you get it, they're emailing everybody who is registered with the IRS, has an EIN number. So when you get it, it is not fraud. It is real. It will go back to financial crimes. You can go to irs.gov under their financial crimes and you will see it. So that is a legitimate paper that they are sending out to legitimate businesses.
Now,
So that's my little story.
I have a question for you. Okay. What's a VOI for those of us don't have the information?
It's the business. Oh shoot, it's the business. I forgot what the O is, but it's proven to the government that you have a legitimate business. And I will get it for you before I leave. I was going to tell you and it went right out my head. I'm sorry.
That's okay. When it pop back, just let us know. We'll make sure we'll let the people know, because that's very important. And you said it's legit. So I mean, because we got so much stuff going on our internets these days, so we see this, it's legit.
Yes.
Okay.
It's actually a form.
Okay.
So it's an actual form, and people don't think it's like, what is this? I've never seen this. No, you haven't, but it's because of all of the crimes that happened during the pandemic and all of the money the government has given out to illegitimate businesses, that they want to prove that the legitimate businesses are who they are. So you're not going to, and you only have till the end of this year to do it. So if you have not received one, ask about it.
Okay.
Please ask about it, because I know you're legitimate business owners, and it's something that we need to share, especially as people of color.
Right. So. That's powerful. We appreciate that. Let's give for Professor O'Day a clap praise, because we appreciate that information that you're bringing to us, because everybody on this right now that I can see have businesses, and all the viewers, there's a lot of them out there have business, and we have friends that have businesses. So it's very important that we share that information. If everybody give me a little time here, I see the Gift in Hand International. They're ready to come back and do this live presentation. If you're ready, come on back. Steve, that's your lane, how we bring them back, how we do this.
Question for Professor O'Day. Is it the beneficial ownership information? Is that what you're talking about?
Yes, thank you very much. Beneficial ownership information.
Yeah, teamwork. That's your young mind. That's what I'm saying.
Teamwork make the dream work, right?
Thank you.
He's on his phone in 30 seconds. I'll get it for you. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. We have the CEO and inventor of petition, Ride Your Share Petition. Is that correct, sir? I want to make sure I get it right.
Ride Share Safety Partition.
There you go. Ride Share Safety Partition. Please go ahead with your demonstration, sir.
Okay, you guys are in the back seat.
Okay.
This is the headrest of your car. Right now, if you wanted to punch me in the face, you could.
Oh, my goodness.
But if you wanted to do anything from the back seat, you can do it, because I'm looking at the traffic. I'm not paying attention to you in my back seat. But with the rideshare safety petition, slide it on. It's real simple. I just got my daughters working with me now because we're doing it on the prop. But if you was in your vehicle, it'd be real simple to do.
Okay. Take your time, sir.
You put your straps on. It's 5 straps come with it. You put the straps on. Once you connect your straps, put this in here. You just pull it tight. This if you on your headrest. Okay.
So we made it to go around the headrest because with the people who are ride sharing, they're using their personal cars. So if you think about a cab, they have those permanent partitions, but people who are using their personal cars, they don't want to drive around with a permanent partition in their car. So this is why my father came up with this this design that is the first, at the time, it was the very first removable mobile partition. So if you have multiple cars and one day you want to drive your truck for rideshare, you can put this in your truck. It has adjustments, so you can make it bigger or larger to fit whatever truck you have. It's made out of polycarbonate, so it's very hard. You can't get through it once it's secured in. And then, of course, this was invented in 2015, but when COVID hit, you can imagine how these became very popular because those rideshare drivers wanted a way to block themselves from the people in the back seat that might have been coughing or sneezing or anything like that. So on top of the protection, it also had a health benefit as well, and it allowed those rideshare drivers to continue to make money during the pandemic because they had a way to protect themselves from the people in the back seat and those germs.
Okay, now hit me in the face.
Man.
You can.
Right.
And the way it's simple to design. Like it's after you can slide it up if you got need more room, more protection, and it's real simple, practical, safe, and healthy to have in your car.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. Look at y'all clap praise on that.
And if your customers get bored in the back, they can do tic-tac-toe on it and just wipe it off.
Oh my goodness. Right. So you just remind me of something. So like if parents, and I think all the parents can identify with their driving, all of a sudden a toy come flying up in the front seat and distract them, you could put this right there and you can still see the babies back there and they can play. You don't have to worry about something come flying at you.
And it's good that you bring that up because we also had for the people who take care of the people, help me out, the autistic children. We've had schools reach out to us. Those companies that transport autistic people, they use this as well. So you're right on the money with what else this is functionality for.
Oh.
And we also have like bounty hunters. They got tired of getting kicked in the head when they were transporting prisoners. So they get this and they ain't got to worry about that angry prisoner in the back kicking them.
Right. Now, from my understanding, I was looking at the video and the YouTube, and you also have a part that can go in there that'll separate the driver. So if somebody else get in the front seat, can you share a little bit about that?
Yes, that's called the bodification. We can split your car into 4 slices if you want. But most likely people don't buy that one. It's a little expensive. But if you want the front seat split, we can split the front seat too.
Oh my goodness. Now we might just have some viewers just coming on. Please share, Mr. Richards, why you started that, why this gift came to you and what you were thinking about, and when did you start this? Just for the new viewers that might be popping on, say like, what is this? What is they talking about?
Right.
And why did they start it? Yes, sir. 2015,
my daughter decided she want to do the Lyft driving, and I wasn't happy with it, but and then I was sitting in the basement, like I was saying, I was sitting in the basement and I was watching YouTube, and then I was kind of praying that there was some way that I can get her to quit. And it came to me. I was in the basement playing with drawing on cardboard what was in my head. Then I cut it out, and then I went in my garage put it up in my car, and said to myself, this can work. And then I went to a manufacturer with the cardboard. And no dramatic drawing or anything, just cardboard. And I said, can you make this? And he said, give me a couple of days. He called back and said, I can make it. And it went from there.
Now, also, Mr. Richards, I was sharing with you, there was a mom, I think she was a mom that came to you, or a husband, and talked about if they would have had this protection.
Yes.
Can you
Yes,
share a little bit of that, sir?
Her name was Mrs. Nelson, and her son name was Grant Nelson.
And I can condolence go out to Miss Nelson.
Yes,
sir.
and he was the first Uber driver that was unalived in Illinois. And they interviewed her on TV. I had reached out to her and talked to her, and then when the news people talked to her, and I told her about my product, she endorsed it, and she said on TV, verbatim, if my son would have had this, he'd have still been alive.
Yes, yes. And I want you to share, if you will, who the person was, a little bit about the event to give people a perspective of what that mother had to deal with, and the mother of the person that took her son's life. I mean, because this is real.
It was a 15-year-old girl that was she had took a knife from Walmart, a hatchet, machete's knife, and she was trying to get into some group, and they dared her to unalive somebody, and he just happened to be driving, and when he stopped at the light, she had the machetes and hit a vital organ, and he didn't survive.
Yes. Well, again, I condolence, but I wanted you to share that story because you, as a dad, got moms and dads viewing the show and on the show, that both parties are missing someone in their lives. But also, it was a young 15, one of our young youth. And I'm going back to voting. When we go to vote, people, that determines where a lot of the money goes. That determines how much money goes into a school, into a neighborhood, into community centers. That's why it's so important on all levels to vote, because perhaps we can't read the future, but perhaps if the money would have been in the community, that young lady, that somebody dared her to do that, would have been involved with something a little more positive, like Michaela is involved with at her school, or the mentoring program that she's doing, or being part of the doula program. That's why it's so important for us to vote, to explain to our children, to our youth, why it's so important. And I want to go back to Mr. D'Angelo. As a young man, going into this arena, then at the table, share a little bit, what's that like for you?
What's it like to, sorry, you cut out a little bit. Can you repeat the question?
When you're going into, as a young man, going into these different arenas where you're sitting at the table with these politicians, these policy makers that are making these laws, so to speak, that governs us and govern our community, what is that like for you?
For me, it's very comfortable. I can't say that that would be the case for a lot of people because it is a very different space, a space that we are not historically at. But for me, it's very comfortable because I recognize that Black people, men, women, however you want to, signify it, we have a very unique experience that is not often reflected in these spaces, that also cannot be denied in these spaces. So it carries a different power. It carries a different perspective, and it carries a different weight. So I guess for me, I'm very comfortable because I recognize who I am, and I hope that my people continue to recognize who they are and the power that we have. So because we're going to dominate any space that we're in, because again, we have a lived experience that shows that we are capable of prevailing and succeeding in all of these different spaces. Politics is one place where, like I've mentioned to you in this podcast and the one previously, we have a lot of social equity as Black folks, right? We have to have more political, and we have to have more economic equity. capacity, and simply going to these spaces, while they can be daunting, is the only way that you're going to have the experience. But just remember that your experience is not reflected in these spaces. It's brand new, and it gives you the ability to impact change in a different way. It's very comfortable.
Appreciate that. Appreciate that. I want to go back to Mr. Richards. Something just came to me. You have your daughters involved with this family-owned company. What was that like? Because we have a lot of families out here that want to start a business, and they say, "Oh no," right? When it comes to the family member, right? But what was that like for you? Then I want to hear from your daughters what it was to come on board and be a part of this gift.
Well, I always been an entrepreneur thinker, and my kids, they watch me get involved with different things to try to become an entrepreneur. And you can see what happens
Yes.
because they was around watching me trying to become an entrepreneur. That's what they're doing. So
Now,
yeah, it's
from my understanding, one of your daughters is actually head of the consumer department.
no.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
You're head of the consumer department, the customer service department, or consumer?
Oh, okay.
I thought maybe I misread it. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, operations.
Operation. Okay. What is
Yeah.
that like? What was that like for you to join your dad in this journey that he's been on?
It was I guess
I wasn't that rough.
Right. She had to do a whole lot of thinking. Like, I'm gonna say this.
no. It was fun, and I felt honored that he allowed me to be a part of the organization, especially because coming in, I obviously didn't have any experience. I was in my early 20s at the time, and he had hired some people out to help, but then he was very adamant about also involving the family in it. And he also, showed us a lot of grace while we were learning. There were situations where we each of us got fired and then rehired. But it allowed us to learn skills that then helped us later in life. When I started my business at the time, like I said, we were the first Black-owned dual certifying organization in our state. No one had done it before. And I knew how to navigate starting a business, putting things in place, who I needed to have in place, how to run, how to market, because I had worked under him for so long. So him including me in his business allowed me to succeed in my business and kind of skip over some of the roadblocks that a lot of other people have in business, because I kind of apprenticed under him.
Oh yeah.
So he allowed me to help him, and then he helped me launch later in life.
Oh my goodness. So, Mr. Richards, that speaks a lot to you, sir, as a dad, as a mentor. And I came back to that because I want the viewing audience to not only hear, but to see a family-owned business and what it takes. And I mean, we're sure we can't get the whole journey with you, but we can hear a little bit. And the fact that you entrusted your gift with your daughters and they jumped on the board and it's successful. And that's truly a blessing. That's truly a blessing, sir.
Yes, and while we was sitting here talking, and they was talking about doing a discount for Women's Month, and she said 25, and she said 25. So, in honor of the Women's Month, we're gonna give $50 off anybody order code you use if you order.
To the people, all the viewers, as you heard that, so it's not just for the ride share drivers, it's for those moms that's driving them children around. They got soccer balls and baseballs and basketballs bouncing around in the back seat, because if one comes up to the driver, that can be very distracting.
Very much so.
Yeah, that can be very distracting. I want to go over to Michaela. Am I saying that correctly? I want to talk to you a little bit about your leadership program that you're doing and what that's like. the leadership program that you're involved with?
My okay. Um um oh, what can you can you explain specifically what you want to know?
Well, I want our viewers to know you're in political science, but you're also involved with the community and you enjoy with the leadership. And I just want them to hear from you what's that like for you being a part of
Okay.
it. Yes.
Um well, I also didn't say this thing. I also worked with children for 6 years now actually. So I guess for me with my leadership role, I've always grown up to, work with students and work with, the community. I'm pretty sure some of you may know who this man is, what I'm about to say. Marshall Goss Jr., that's my father. I'm pretty sure those who, live in Portland probably exactly know who I'm talking about. So I've learned under him with, going to like schools and, helping him with students and helping the students get to where they need to be, help them with their homework, help them with any family situations, to help them with anything. And not even just my dad, actually, it's also my mom. They both had me around kids and had me help them with students and stuff like that. Ever since I was born, basically. So that's how I kind of got that role, is from the both of them. Which I absolutely love. My parents, they're amazing, they're hilarious. Thank you to them. um and then even D'Angelo, I know D'Angelo, and so I've also worked with him for, a while. And there's another young man who I work with. His name is Tay Thomas. Me and him have also done the same exact work. um and so for me, I guess working with youth, it just helps me grow.
Yes.
It helps me understand more. At least helps me understand more of the students and how they've, um, I guess, and how they learn and how they understand things. And which I've also worked with Paris as well. I didn't say that either. So she also knows how I work. Um, and so yeah, I guess I would just say it helps me like grow and helps me help others. And helps me get those voices that aren't able to be heard. It helps me get those out there, because that also basically happened for me in high school, where mine and my fellow seniors' voices weren't being heard. So I took account into going and meeting with the principal every week possible. Um, and basically was like, hey, if this isn't happening, then we're all dead. You're not getting anything from us. We're putting our foot down. I'm gonna make sure I am representing my group and my community and everything. And even most of my classmates were, students of color. They were more so Black and, Hispanic in that area. So they definitely weren't able to be heard. Because of the school systems and because of the governmental systems and stuff like that. So basically, I just took account and took ability of that, and to make sure that everybody's able to get their voices heard.
Right. I'm gonna give you a clap praise because it's so important when we hear from our young people, and we always hearing the negative, but to have them in our presence and talking about they're on a journey and it's about helping everybody that's in their space and beyond. It's beautiful to hear. And I don't want you to think that we take that for granted because it is beautiful. You spoke about Miss Paris, she just jumped on. Miss Paris, you are a event coordinator. Oh, just before I go, Mr. Richard, did I miss your other daughter? Is she part of the organization? The company?
Yes, she's in the marketing.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I just looked at my notes. Okay, go ahead. Share a little bit about the marketing piece, and then I'm gonna come to you, Miss Paris. Thank you.
Oh, well, marketing, of course, is very important for any business. So going out and being personable and passing out the flyers and speaking to the people, going on the news and talking to the people on the news shows. We've also been on Shark Tank. We've been like everywhere, marketing, promoting, branding, and all of that stuff. So it's just, in every business, it's like number one, like top of importance. So that's just what I do. And being, you know, the reason that it was invented, you know, that's
Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. We appreciate that. We appreciate that. And it's a blessing to just sit and listen to a family business.
yeah.
It truly is. And it all goes back to the voting. If we wouldn't have voted, we wouldn't got things passed, we wouldn't be having the conversation that we're having right now. And these people wouldn't be blessed to have the company that they have. Miss Paris, you also a business owner, a coordinator, event coordinator. Share a little bit about that and get it out to the people so they'll know.
So I've been doing event coordination. In June, we'll make an entire decade, actually. It's shocking to me that we even made it this far, made it through COVID. Funny enough, COVID was actually when we started booming the most. We put on our very first virtual event, and we actually had a virtual wedding with over 250 people in it.
Clap praise. I can give you clap praise. Yes, yes. Okay,
yeah.
go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So that was definitely a workout, but I loved everything about it. I started doing more event coordination because we had a small earring line that we made nickel-free earrings because we started recognizing there was a large need for health and wellness in every area. There is nickel inside a majority of earrings that are bought. It's unhealthy, it's unnatural for the body. And we started learning that because my niece actually ended up having a nickel allergy that it burned the inside of her ear, and she had to burn unit. So it got really, really bad. We decided to do some more research on the nickel, recognized it wasn't a natural element, that it shouldn't even be on your body, near your body. And we started teaching people about it. But when we started learning, when I say we, me and my business partner, so when we started learning more about nickel, we started learning more about health and wellness, but then we started recognizing that vendors markets started becoming a very popular thing. So what the problem was, though, is that people wanted to put on vendors markets, but they weren't doing the work behind the vendors market. They felt like procuring a space and throwing up some flyers was more than enough. We did our part, but you have to pay us for a spot, even though we're not doing what we need to do in order to actually bring the information out to the forefront that there are small businesses that are actually creating products that are healthy for you, healthy for the environment, healthy for your wellness, healthy for your being. So we decided to start running our own vendors markets, and that's how we started stepping more so into the philanthropy role. A lot of people in the community know us. They always will tell you, they're like, oh yeah, 106, we'll work with them any day. They actually care about the community. They care about us. We're going to make sure we bring you water. We're going to make sure that you have food vouchers. We're going to make sure that we're not just procuring an actual venue, but that we're going to take time to invite people out that can put you in their shops. So that way you have an opportunity to put your products on forefront, put them on sale, show them to different customers, show them to different individuals, show them to different corporations and companies. At this point, we've helped about 10 businesses get into different small storefronts. We helped one go national, and we're currently helping a business be able to get their first government contract for barbecue sauce for it to be put across all the Army bases across the entire U.S.
We're going to give you a clap praise. We're really going to give you a clap praise. And
Thank you.
yes, absolutely. And I was just thinking, I was thinking because I read some information earlier. You're working with women-owned businesses. Can you share a little bit about why you target that market?
So, BIPOC was easy, of course. I'm a Black woman in the world, but women was really big to me because of the women's suffragist movement. So, with the women's suffrage movement, how you're talking before about how we didn't have the right to vote and all those other things, people don't also recognize that Black women were put on the back burner for the women's suffrage movement. We were used as a pawn in mutilation with the suffrage movement as a whole. So the white women were like, yeah, your friend. But it wasn't really a stance of friendship. You needed the numbers. We helped to create that. And then we were back on the back burner, not being thought about. So women have suffered as a whole. You know, back in the day, we couldn't own land. We couldn't have anything if we didn't have a husband. If our husband died, we would lose everything. Or our son would have to take it over, even if he was 6, 7, 8 years old, didn't know anything. And so it's important to me to help my gender grow as well. Two very large portions of money that we're losing within the national finances stuff. We do not have a Black dollar. We do not have a BIPOC dollar, but we also do not have a women dollar.
Oh my goodness.
So it makes it very important to me to want people to help build those bridges. Of course, Black Wall Street. People think that Black Wall Street was just one place when it was a multitude of areas. But it's the same with the suffrage movement. After the suffrage movement, a lot of women-owned businesses ended up starting to boom, become enamorous, and Black women's businesses were put on the back burner. The one of the main ones that you only hear about is like Madam C.J. Walker, which was very basic because there were a lot of Black women that were running a lot of different small businesses, doing a lot of different things, but they were not thought about. They didn't get their opportunity to be able to put their things out forefront. So it's nice to know that we're in a day and age where, regardless of national creed or whatever, that you're able to bring multitudes of women together and that they are actually willing to work together. It's beautiful to see. We were able to run a vendors market last year where we had 50 women-owned businesses within a warehouse, and all of them completely women-owned. And we ran a markers fair for that. We ran a Black makers fair where it was during Black History Month. That was really great. And it was a skating event. So we actually had roller skating, and you could go and buy things from vendors.
Yeah, roller skate. I didn't roller skate. I don't know if I get down on it now, but ooh, I
Right.
remember back in the days. Roller
I have
skate.
to share. It's fun. I still
Right. Yeah, roller skate. There's a young lady on the call as well, and she just not just started, but she launched her own business. Miss Shepherd, can you touch a little bit? Because I'm trying to tie everybody. I truly believe in networking. I truly believe in networking. I hope everybody get everybody's information, because I can see event coordinators, I see doulas, I see a safety, I see marketing, I see financing. Please, Miss Shepherd, Miss Shepherd,
Yeah, I'm here.
share a
I'm
little bit
here.
about the business that you have launched.
Ani LeVay.
Yes.
So it started because a lot of us, and I'm sorry for the lighting. I'm sitting in the car,
Okay. So,
and
yes.
then it's starting to get dark because I'm in another state. So it was born because women, we wear a lot of hats. Sometimes we're mom, dad, sister, brother, cousin, friend, psychologist, doctor. We have to do everything. We wear a lot of hats. We the cook, we the cleaner, what I mean? We the disciplinarian. And we don't take time to take care of us.
Yeah.
We don't have time to take care of us. We're busy. And we get so used to that. And so paradigms need to be changed. What needs to happen is we need to take out some time to so what the events that I hold is, we'll go to a very nice we go to a very nice hotel. We do manicures and pedicures and facials and massages, and we eat. I'm also, as I said earlier, a psychologist. So what I do is I give them I do an hour of how the brain works and things that go on with the brain, and how that works, and how you release dopamine and epinephrine and all of these things that are released in your brain to keep you focused. How I teach a lot about the brain, and then I'll do a separate counseling um, period for them. It's all included in the package, and we just spend, the weekend just enjoying each other, taking care of each other, listening to each other's stories, because a lot of times we're just sometimes when you're going through, you think, well, I'm alone, and so to find out that, oh, it's just not me, other people are going through, and we network and we share, and just take care of each other and love each other. And I love that. I love giving back. That is what I do. That is what I do with the federal government. I take care of the veterans. Um, and you just have to give back, and so that is my way of doing it. So that's Ani LeVay.
All right. Well, let's give you a clap praise. I appreciate that. What I like to do, because when we're closing up, I'll say we're not gonna end it, because we're gonna never end the program. It's always the energy is always out there. Please, Miss Shepherd, can you let people know how to get in touch with you?
I can. I will put the information in the chat.
Okay.
And anytime you guys need anything, just go ahead and call me. But I'll put the information in the chat so everybody can have that.
Appreciate it. I'm gonna go right over to Professor O'Day. How to get in touch with you? AOK Business Services.
I'm going to put that in the chat, but can you give me 2.5 minutes just to say this?
Oh, absolutely.
Gifted, can you hear me?
Oh, yes, absolutely. Go ahead.
Okay. So this panel that's on today is phenomenal because we have young people, D'Angela, Michaela. Am I saying your name right, Michaela? Um, there are, you know, as we're going, I'm going towards my 70s. So somebody has to take my place,
That's true.
right? So now we have another generation of people who are working to be who we are. As my mother said, it's your turn. And now it was so good to know that we will be able to pass the torches to people who are going to get us together. The other thing is when I look at Gifted Hands International, I want to say three things. One, creating generational wealth,
Yes.
closing the wealth gap, creating a legacy for your entire family and their children and their grandchildren, right? And third, please don't forget at this stage what your product does numerous things. And just as a suggestion, because we're still safety conscious, it's going to take a couple years. Now, it's not something that's going to happen tomorrow, but because you're safety conscious and we're still wearing masks and things, you should see if Medicaid or some part of DHS or something, well, maybe not that the Department of Transportation, I'm sorry, Department of Transportation will give an allowance. And this is where voting, this is where D'Angelo and Tony, and they're talking about coming in because we can push this product to make this product a part of something we can get a tax break on. Because don't forget, if you're an Uber driver or a Lyft driver, or if you're a gig driver, not necessarily a mom, but we can maybe push it to that. That's what voting and lobbying is about. This is a tax deduction for those people who purchase your product. So that's phenomenal, and they need to know that too. And it's energy efficient. That's the word I was looking for. See, I just had a brain exasperation, and that's why we need Precious, because all of us that are in business,
Yeah.
and especially Miss Paris, you, because you know, event planning is like having a marriage with your family you don't get along with, but you gotta love them anyway because they're paying you to do something even if you know it's not right, but they're paying you and you can tell them 100 times. So I get it. But this is a phenomenal panel. We have education and we don't take mental health breaks in business, people. We won't make it through the next part. So what she's doing is extremely important. And as people in business, there's sometimes we gotta stop and think, where am I emotionally? Where am I physically? Because those are the things that keep us going in business. And if you don't stop and take that kind of break for you, you're spinning wheels and you don't know why I can't get to the next level. So I am appreciative of everybody who is on here. I'm extremely excited, and it all circles back to we're all related and we can all build on each other's business. And it does come down to we can make this thing happen if we get out and rock the vote.
Right.
So
That's
thank you for allowing me to have that moment.
Professor Odette. Oh, absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, Paris, share a little bit about. No, I was asking everybody about the contact information. So if you want to get it out, put it, because I want to make sure people viewing this show can get in touch with everybody that's on here in some type of way. Okay, go ahead, please.
Okay, so for everyone that wants to get in contact with me, I'm happy to give you my personal phone number. That is not a problem. You can also reach me at my email. I try to do my best to keep it at disposal. Email address is number 1, letter O, letter H, number 6, at what's it called? Events, EVENTS at gmail.com. 106 is the name of my company. It is a homage to 106 in Park from back in the early 2000s. They were very well known for being able to keep musical community together. So we want to be known for being able to keep business community together. We're really big on networking. We're very large on, we like to call ourselves the DJ Khaled of businesses. So if you have somebody you're, or 9 times out of 10, we probably have a BIPOC network for it. It's either going to be BIPOC or women owned. So yes, you can also find us on Instagram at 106 Events as well. You can find us on Facebook, 106 Events. So we're I also do accounting. So if you need any accounting work or anything like that, I do all the accounting. I do all the business shareholds for our business. That's me being in school for economics. My business partner, she is an interior designer, full-fledged. She has her degree and she has been asked to actually work for a carpeting design and cabinetry company. So they're begging for her. So she's trying to decide though, because she's had a few offers. So if you ever need any interior design work or anything of that nature, she's got you. She does some really great things. People will be more than pleased to see her work. But we're the dynamic duo of 106, so that's where you definitely can find us at.
And we appreciate that information. And when you talk to your business partner, let her know straight talk. She can
Yes.
come and share, because I believe in networking and getting the information out. If we don't do it, who will? And if we don't do it now, when? So please let her know. Mr. Richard and your beautiful family, how to get in touch with you, and put that code up there again and tell a little bit, sir.
Okay, I want to thank everybody for being on this panel. And I want to, it's one thing I was waiting till later.
Please.
Anybody concerned about that middle piece between your seats when you put the petition up there? This is the middle piece. If you want to put it in, it's your option, but you just put it in, slide it to the width of the open space between the seats. So you have total coverage. But you can reach us at the Ride Share Safety Petition. And I need to acknowledge my wife, Charlene Davis, and my two other daughters, or I won't be safe.
Okay. Absolutely.
Nathan,
you got to do that, bro. You got to do that.
and Charlene Davis.
Absolutely. Both your daughters going to share a little something before we go, please.
This is contact information of anybody is interested in hiring a doula in Illinois or becoming a doula in any state. We certify in all 50 states. You can go to www.giftedhandsinternational.org.
Absolutely. And definitely everybody send information. I'm going to have it up Facebook. We're going to have it up on the website as well. So, and on Comcast, because the show will be viewed on Comcast. Okay. The daughter next to her.
You can find me on Instagram at Notes and Notary, okay, or Tanisha Terrell.
Okay. Now, from my understanding, earlier you said you sing. And I said put a pin in there. Could you drop a few notes for us? Go ahead. Acapella, however you want to do it.
Okay. Sometimes you have to encourage yourself, and sometimes you have to speak victory during the test. And no matter how you feel, just speak a word and you will be healed. Speak over yourself. Encourage yourself in the Lord. Oh, 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 oh.
You can sing. Hey, she ain't playing, y'all. Mr. Richard, you got a record recording. Let's straight on no. Let's straight on no. Thank you for blessing us. I want to say to everybody, thank you for allowing us into your space, to our viewing audience. Oh, and I want to say this. A lot of you sending me videos of different clips. Make sure they're copyrighted before you send them, because I can't show them if it's copyrighted. Y'all understand how they go, right? We will get the clips up of different clips that people are sending me. And just letting us into your home. People said, hey, Tony, can you do this on Facebook so we can start watching it at our homes or on our phones? We're doing it for you. And so we appreciate you. We do not take this for granted. This is a blessing to be able to do this and to be a part of this environment, to feel the energy. And Professor Wells said it, Professor O'Day said it well. This is a phenomenal panel. And I thank everybody for going with the flow, because we was going to do different interviews, but it flowed together with family, and it was beautiful. Mr. Richards, we thank you so much for your family and your product. It's a blessing. And Michaela, did I say that correctly? Thank you so much as a student and the work that you do in Paris. You rocking it as well. You rocking it. and I call her multi-millionaire, Miss Shepherd. Thank you for what you're doing. Please, everybody, connect some kind of way, get in contact with each other. And we just share. And D'Angelo, thank you for sharing your environment and these ladies with us to be a part of, even though we honor women every day, part of honoring women this month. Be blessed. Remember, Straight Talk truly is the show that cares about you, where the information comes from you, the people, to the people. Be blessed. Tell somebody you love her. Let's go rock it on out, Steve. Thank you.